We are finished." When Draco saw that Mr. Gardner had been apprehended, his face paled in shock. From Mr. Granville's appearance until the arrest of Mr. Gardner, Draco couldn't make sense of what was going on, as everything had happened in a flash. The only thing he could be sure of was that Mr. Granville did not let his son-in-law off the hook. This meant that he was going to be in trouble as well. Draco thought that Mr. Granville was their savior. Who knew that he was here to bring them to justice? This world could be so unpredictable. Draco turned back and glanced at Dustin, who had remained silent all this while. He had an expression of indifference on his face, as if he had known this would happen all along. Who was this man, and why was Mr. Granville treating him with such respect? Why would Lord Asmon have a grudge against such a monster? Arrest all the other men as well? Mr. Granville barked an order. Draco and Mr. Gardner's men were all apprehended. Mr. Gardner and Draco stared at each other in despair. It was obvious that they would have to pay for their crimes. What's happening? Natasha couldn't wrap her head around the plot twist. She expected trouble when Mr. Granville appeared. Unexpectedly, Mr. Granville did not find fault with them. Furthermore, he fired Mr. Gardner and threw him into prison. Who could have expected Mr. Granville to do such a thing to his own son-in-law? Am I dreaming? Is Mr. Granville on our side? Dahlia's eyes were wide with shock. She was also taken aback at Mr. Granville's actions. When she knew of his relationship to Mr. Gardner, she was already prepared for the worst. At one point, Dahlia even thought that Dustin and her were doomed. However, the outcome was beyond belief. Could Mr. Granville truly be a righteous and upright official? Are you Dustin? I can tell that you are a capable young man. After he had tied up the loose ends, Mr. Granville walked up to Dustin with a rare smile on his stern face. "Greetings, Mr. Granville." Dustin nodded politely. "I'm very sorry for the inconvenience. Because of my incompetence, you had to go through such trouble. I humbly request for your understanding and forgiveness." Mr. Granville apologized. "It is said that there will be rotten apples in every bunch. I find it very admirable for you to even bring your son-in-law to justice." Dustin smiled. "Thank you for your consideration, young man. Now, I can finally stop worrying." Mr. Granville secretly breathed a sigh of relief. No one knew that he received a call from the governor of Millsborough not long ago. The only message given was to protect Dustin Rhys at any cost. Dustin's background and influence must be unimaginable if the governor personally made a call to ensure his safety. In a city like Swinton, a person with such connections was untouchable. Mr. Granville and his men left in a hurry after greeting Dustin. "Mr. Rhys, Ms. Nicholson. Are the both of you all right?" Hunter asked anxiously after everyone left. "We're fine. Thanks for your help, Mr. Anderson." Dahlia nodded her thanks. "It's nothing. Don't worry about it." Hunter nodded in return. "Dustin, it seems you're having a good time." Natasha came over, her heels clacking on the ground. She stared at Dustin with resentment, as if he had cheated on her. "What do you mean?" Dustin said, puzzled. "Am I mistaken?" Natasha crossed her arms and countered sarcastically. "When I heard that you were locked up, I was so worried that I went everywhere looking for help to get you released. On the other hand, you are here chatting with another woman. Why wouldn't you be having a good time? Don't misread the situation." "She was arrested because of me," Dustin replied awkwardly. "Is that true?" Natasha wasn't convinced. If that was the case, why are your hands clasped together so tightly? What? Dustin and Dahlia looked down simultaneously. They hadn't realized that their fingers were intertwined. Startled, they let go of each other immediately. I never thought a simple man like you would be a playboy. I'm so disappointed in you, Dustin. My devotion is wasted on you. Natasha gave an exasperated sigh, turned around and left. Ms. Harmon. Dustin took a few steps toward Natasha before giving Dahlia a glance, as if he had something to say to her. Why are you looking at me? Go after her. It's none of my business. Dahlia faked a nonchalant tone and avoided his gaze. All right. Use a cab to get home. With that, Dustin ran after Natasha. Did Dustin really chase after Natasha? Dahlia gritted her teeth in annoyance. Did he not know that it was just a test to see whether he would prioritize her or Natasha? What a dolt. She was being sulky to get his attention, that's why she asked him to chase after Natasha. If she asked him to jump off a building, would he just obey like an idiot? The thought of Dustin spending time with Natasha irked her immensely. Ms. Harmon, please listen to my explanation. Dustin caught up to Natasha at the entrance. Due to the dangerous circumstances, I had to protect Dahlia. I'm not thinking of getting back together with her. Is that true? Natasha stared at him suspiciously. Of course. Why would I lie to you? Dustin replied with a serious expression. All right then, since you rushed out to explain to me, I'll forgive you on account of your sincerity. Natasha suddenly grinned from ear to ear. The disappointment and resentment on her face disappeared in a flash. Dustin was stunned at how quick a woman's mood could change. Their emotions were as unpredictable as the weather. He couldn't help but suspect Natasha had just pulled a fast one on him. Dahlia, you're still a notch below me? Natasha thought as she gave Dahlia a smug glance. From Dustin's actions, it was obvious that he was more concerned about her than Dahlia. Let's go, I'll send you home, Natasha said with a bright smile. Not right now. I have to meet someone. Dustin shook his head. Meet someone? Who?